Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to this week's segment of the Black Girl Encourage Her. I am your host, Sheniqua Inspires, and I am delighted to be back with you all another week. So, as you know, if you've been keeping up with the Black Girl Encourage Her, you know we are doing a special edition. Now, usually we do our spinoffs. You know all about the Black Girl Encourage Her and its spinoffs. But this time we are here in the primary podcast, but we are doing an entrepreneurs edition. So I'm bringing together all of these amazing entrepreneurs that I know to showcase businesses and concepts and ideas that you might not have even thought of. So I want to give them their flowers. I want you to know that there are people out here who are taking a little seed of an idea and birthing these businesses, because I want to let you know that there are options. In 2025, we are looking for every opportunity, every option that we have available to us. And entrepreneurship just so happens to be one of them. So, every week I'm bringing gems, right? And I got another one for you. And I'm always like, I'm not going to sit here and try to hype them up. I could, because this one just so happens to be my bestie, but I'm going to bring her to the stage so you all get to meet her for yourself. So, everybody, welcome my sister friend, Shawn. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Thank you.
Now, listen, I know everything about you, so I could sit here and tell them who you are. But please introduce yourself to the people in your own words.
Thank you for having me. I have not had an interview in a while, so my bestie could bring me out of the shadows to come in and do this again. I wouldn't do this for nobody else, y'all. I really wouldn't. I am Shawn Williams. I am an entrepreneur. Have been for so many years. And by way of starting with Sheniqua, with my nonprofit, A Stairway to Hope. That's how the entrepreneur spirit started.
Big flashback.
2010. Yeah. And then now I had moved to Georgia, and we are starting back with the entrepreneurship with Growing and Glowing Academy, who is up and coming. February 1st, we will be up and ready to service the kiddies in Douglasville, Georgia. And I am so excited about this.
I love it. I love it. So listen, Shawn and I have known each other since, let's just say, ninth grade. So we'll leave it to your imagination as to how long ago ninth grade was. So we met at the bus stop heading our way to our brand new high school. And the journey of friendship has stayed the course. And I thank God for having people that you don't necessarily have to speak to every day. But if you need something, if whether it's money, prayers, just an ear to talk to, you know who you can go to. So if you don't have people like that in your corner, you might want to start figuring some stuff out. Yeah, reevaluating who you are, because you should be attracting those types of individuals. And I thank God for allowing our paths to cross and to remain crossed and connected. So there's so many things that we could talk about. I mean, there's like a boatload of stuff. But when the Lord showed me this entrepreneur edition, I started thinking about all of the different entrepreneurs that I know. And I was trying to find people that have not necessarily unique, but a diverse type of journey in entrepreneurship. And so this way people can start to see themselves in that type of a journey. Oftentimes when we're speaking to people, we remove ourselves from them. So, that happened because of this person, they got their start from their parents, they inherited this. But I wanted to bring people who know it just started with an idea. started with an idea. So you, of course, came to mind in all of your multifacetedness, and you took us there. You took us there. So let's go there. Back to a stairway to
To
hope, right?
yes.
Stairway to hope. Tell us why you started that nonprofit to get you into this entrepreneurial space.
So a stairway to hope was, like you said, an idea
Mhm,
that started. I was a school safety officer, what they call out here in Georgia, a school resource officer. Um, and I saw the need in the children in my school in the Bronx. So I wanted to go ahead and try to use my voice to help the families in that school. So I brought the idea to my then sergeant, aka my brother Wise, and he was game. And like Sheniqua said, you got to get with the people that will
mhm,
support your vision, no matter how big or small it is. So Wise was like, let's do it. And our first clothing and coat drive was born out of that.
wow,
We did that, and then it just blossomed to clothing and coat drives, community baby showers, just multi things that helped families, toy drives.
mhm,
New York Kids went to us, just shout out to them. They supported us for so many years. And yeah, that was it. That was it, right? That was all that we had.
it just started from a need, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
that's the
yes.
simplicity of
I'm
it.
just thinking about all the things we did to serve
Yes,
the community.
yes. The Feed the Homeless tour. You did
Feed
the
the
Feed the Homeless
homeless
tour.
store.
Yeah, yeah. You used to offer the haircuts and the
Yes,
hairstyles for
yes,
the
yes,
kids in the
yes, yes.
community. So many
So
beautiful
many
things
things.
were birthed
Yes,
through that need.
out of that, yes. And then
Hmm.
I just as I grew in this entrepreneurship, I just realized that I am the person that is connected to children,
Hmm.
right? So connected to children, families too, but really mainly the main goal is children. Um,
Hmm.
then, after Stairway to Hope, then came Happy Hearts Daycare. Happy
Hmm.
Hearts Daycare came out of being, you know, sick and just like I was ending one career and going into another, and then daycare just stuck with me after Happy Hearts Daycare. Happy Hearts Daycare ran for 10 years. Can you
Wow.
believe it?
Wow.
10 years. I follow all those families, and those children are like 6 and 7, and it blows my mind because they were babies when they were in my daycare.
Yeah.
Happy Hearts Daycare was in New York, Long Island, and I serviced those children for so many years. The pandemic closed us down, partly the pandemic, but also another milestone in my life happened where I got married, and then it was off to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
So in the pandemic, another journey came with my inner peace connections, where
Mhm.
I never suffered from anxiety, not one single bit, until the pandemic, which probably a lot of people birthed anxiety in their life during the
Mhm.
pandemic. So then I did inner peace connections, and I started making aromatherapy, right, to
Mhm.
relax your mind, to relax your thing with shea butters and sugar scrubs, and just all of those things that kind of relax your mind and spirit.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. Then we came to Georgia, and then I was a director for so many years here, and then out of a place of darkness, which it always seemed to happen for me,
Mhm.
came Growing and Glowing Academy. And God is always in the midst when it happens for me. So that was just something that was just so pivotal in my life, and I'm excited for the new journey with that.
Yes, yes. Now you talked about your connection being, oh, well, you said a couple of things, but first and foremost, you talked about your connection being with the children. Now you are one of many, right? So I know maybe your love of children maybe came from your upbringing, right?
Yeah.
Being around a large family at all times. So what could you share with us about little Shawn, growing up, little Shawn?
So little Shawn, oh yeah, I am one of 8. I'm one of eight. My mom, I'm the second oldest of eight. And what's funny is we've had this conversation so many times, you and I, about being the second oldest
Mhm.
and being the second oldest and actually just living that with,
Mhm.
being in a crowded household.
Mhm.
I lived in a household where you don't have to, like, we didn't have to invite out the public, right? We was a party by ourselves,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
it was a thing where not only was we a party by ourselves, we didn't really, it was us,
Mhm.
my sisters, my kids, their kids, and things of that. So I was always surrounded by a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, so it's just like you said, just being around a lot of people
Mhm.
made me feel like, okay, I can do children. I just love
And
children.
being the second oldest, that makes you like what, like the assistant manager?
Right, right, right,
Because
right.
there's
To be
always the
honest with
oldest sibling that thinks that they're like
man,
they're
listen.
the manager of everybody else. But so that makes you kind of like the assistant manager. So I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
kind of sparks some type of leadership skills in you, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And what's funny? I just had that conversation with my children because, you know, I, me and you always conversate, but me and my husband just adopted three children. So now I am up to, in conjoined with my husband, eight children, like my mama. Like, if I ain't had nothing else better to do, I come to
Yeah.
Georgia and adopt three children, right?
Yeah.
So it's just that journey surrounding around children and just wanting to make children lives better.
Mhm.
I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth at all.
Mhm.
Anything I had to work for. And I worked really hard for everything that I have in my life. So, it's funny because I was just telling my children, my oldest boy, like, listen, you have to be an example for your younger siblings,
Mhm.
because when you're the example, you got to lead the pack, right?
Mhm.
And not to put any responsibility on him and help raising his siblings, but just leading the pack with just how they look up to you.
Yeah.
And my mom was a very hard worker,
Mhm.
and I just fell into that, and I just am so grateful that those traits that I had, being in a large family, now having a large family and things
Mhm.
of that nature, and then just helping children that have nothing to do with me and my family, just
Mhm.
because in daycare, I always tell people, like, even in the interview, I tell people, and even when I talk to families, right, I tell them, like, kids deserve an experience.
Mhm.
Kids deserve these memories that will last a lifetime, because your memories as a small child will shape who you are as an adult,
Yeah.
as a teenager, as all those things. So, I am for making sure children, whether mine or not, have an experience that will last a lifetime.
I love that. And what many people do not know about you, yes, you mentioned you came from a big family. You've got, a large family now as well. But not only did you not grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth, like the odds were literally stacked against you from when you were pregnant at
At
15
15.
years old,
At
right? So
15.
according to statistics, you should not be anybody's entrepreneur, nothing. You
Agreed.
should be sitting in the projects with your kids,
Yep.
on
They
public
daddy.
assistance. Yeah, yeah, barefoot pregnant. Just that's the way society has
Surviving. Yep.
taught us,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Agreed.
About women of color, especially women of color who start having children early in life. And
Yes.
so we would think that that is as far as you're going to go. But you literally beat the odds.
Amen.
Tell us about that journey as 15 years old, pregnant, to now being
Scary.
the CEO of yet another business.
Mhm. So 15 and pregnant. Yes, I found myself 15 and pregnant. Look, 15, 18, and 22 is when I had my children. I had my children all before 25,
Mhm.
and we grew up together and we did it, right?
Mhm.
So it was just in my mind to, and I guess, like you said, when you're the CEO and you just see things that when you're that no, excuse me, when you're the assistant, right?
Yes, yes, yes. The family manager, right?
Yeah, you kind of get that leadership
Mhm.
skills up, right? And it's so funny because I remember like when I had Nicole, first baby, um, the nurse, I was in the hospital, and the nurse was like, "Oh, you like feed her and act like you've done this before, ma'am." Yes,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have. All right. So,
Mhm.
because at that time, my mom was on her eighth child. So I had
Mhm.
so much experience with that. So, with that being said, I saw the struggle and I just did not want that for me and my children at
Mhm.
all. So I did go to college. I do have an associate's degree in business, right?
Mhm.
Um, and just those things propelled my life to kind of just do the things that I wanted to do and just have the insight that I needed to become who I am right now.
Mhm. And so your journey didn't go the way most people would think. You know, what we're taught, you were, from our parents, they tell us, you got to go to school, get a good job, be a success. Go to school, get a good job, be a success. Like that's the blueprint that many of us have, just kind of been thrusted into. But
Mhm.
yours looked a little bit different. Yours was, okay, I'm in school, that kind of got interrupted,
Mhm.
and now I'm
Thank
starting a
you.
family. Now
Mhm.
I'm a single mom, got these little kids. I'm trying to do things. Oh, wait, school, right? Okay, let me get back to
Let's
that,
get back
right?
to
Like, and then you
that.
you you went back into that, but you didn't have that same pathway, but you still ended to where you're supposed to be. You're still a success, and your business, especially Happy Hearts Daycare, like that was a really good and thriving business in
Yep,
especially the Long Island community of New York City. Like that was your highlight,
it was.
right? Out of all of the things that you had gone through, that was your highlight. That showed you your ability and what it is that you are capable of doing. And I loved how it's always been centered around others. So we laugh and we say, yeah, being the second oldest, it makes you like the assistant manager, but I think it also made you care about other people.
Yes.
Like it made you selfless. So you have this passion to just want to be able to provide the life, like you say, these children deserve, whether it's through a daycare, whether it's at home, with you adopting children. It's just about teaching children that they are somebody.
Yeah. 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 Because, sometimes the message can get lost when you're in a large family.
Mm-hmm.
When the message can get lost as children keep coming, the message could get lost where you might feel like, do I matter? Do I, things of that nature. You will find people in large families, children in large families that do feel that way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I was, I probably was the black sheep, that they
Mm-hmm.
stake these claims on themselves because they
Mm-hmm.
were in this large family. And to go back for a second about going back to school, not only did I go back to school, but then I was in the academy as well for school safety
Mm-hmm.
and going to school. So I was learning 7 days a week with three
Mm-hmm.
children.
Mm-hmm.
And then once school safety came about and, I got the city job that I needed to take care of my family. And then, everything else came about. And that's how I landed into the school that brought on the entrepreneurship. So everything just like was steps to where I was supposed to be going.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And when you ask me to do this, it sparks your memory and it starts making you think like, dag, everything in
Mm-hmm.
my life has happened in alignment with with my heart's desires, one,
Mm-hmm.
which is to be a vessel for children.
Mm-hmm.
And then just it propels me every time into my next season of where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it is,
Yeah.
it's, and
Yeah.
I'm just grateful for that.
So it really sounds like where we view it as a setback, right? Having a baby out of wedlock, 15 years old, we see that as a setback, but it's only a setback if you allow it to be a setback,
Agreed.
right? Having another kid, 18 years old, so now you got this 3-year-old, now you're pregnant. Most people, oh, you're never going to be anything. Yes, you're
Yes.
just not going to be. You're stacking the cards. The odds are against you,
Against you. Hmm.
but it
Yep.
only is against you
If you
if you
let it.
allow it to be
Mhm.
against you.
If you
And
let it.
I think, and I could say this, for most of my guests, I couldn't say this, but for you, because we literally grew up together, and I was there, I was watching this. You literally gave yourself permission to succeed.
Oh yeah.
Like, because you had babies, it didn't it didn't stop you from achieving and succeeding and accomplishing. And my hat is always tipped off to you, because not everybody can use that opposition, or face that opposition in the same graceful way as you did. And whether you saw it or not at the time, but God literally has had his hands on you since the very beginning.
And listen.
So where most people, yeah, they would have gone off the grid, they would have lost everything with the things that you face, but God's grace has always been sufficient, where you
Amen.
still ended up where you are supposed to be.
Always. And it's just I am so humbled, and I can cry right now, for real, because God is just, I tell people, and I have developed this hashtag, God don't play about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I tell people that, even faced with coming to a new state,
Mm-hmm.
just the journey. My first director's position, I left because I wanted better for myself. I'm always going to bet on Shawn,
Mm-hmm.
always. And that's what I encourage anybody to do. Bet on yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Always bet on yourself. So I left that company, and the owner was very upset. The owner was, yeah, talking crazy about me to the staff. And the staff, they told me, and I
Mm-hmm.
and I simply texted and said, you know what, God don't play about me.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me the ability to want to grow for myself and
Mm-hmm.
my family. So my time was up with there, and God don't play about me, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the next daycare, right? And this New York girl, I'm going to say it how I say it, right? And sat in that seat for almost 2 years. And my boss, just being who she was, God bless her, you know wrongfully terminated me, right? And it's so crazy because never written up, never, it's so funny when y'all back home found out I was terminated. Y'all was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
terminated? Who terminated
Like,
Shawn?
you don't, right, you don't get terminated, you leave jobs. Like, you're like, yeah, I'm not coming back.
Good. I've done that. I've done that. Like, oh yeah, this is done. No,
Yeah, no, after lunch, I'm not coming
I'm
back.
not
Yeah.
coming back there. Like, I'm
So
not even gonna knock
termination, like,
on
what?
your door and tell you
Yeah.
I'm leaving. I'm just leaving. Like,
Yeah.
and when that happened, I just kept saying, God don't play about me, right?
Hmm.
So of course it was a shocker, and probably now a trauma in my life, right? Because I've never been terminated by anyone. Um, Tuesday, September 10th, I'm terminated
Hmm.
out of nowhere. Um, Saturday, whatever that date is, I'm looking at my own daycare.
Hmm.
And that Monday, we're in contract for my daycare.
Yeah.
So, although I'm like, what is happening, right? In hindsight, it's like, God, if God wants you there, It'd have been
Mhm.
nothing that lady could have done
No, nothing.
to, to keep me from staying there. But
But
it,
as we've learned in life, like sometimes God has to abruptly push us.
yeah.
Like, because when he's
Oh
nudging
yeah.
and he's
Oh
being
yeah.
all sweet and gentle, like, baby, go ahead. Because so what people may not realize, see, we're kind of talking because we know the full story.
Right.
But when Shawn was in New York, she had this thriving business, Happy Hearts Daycare. Like she said, she was there 10 years, this thriving business. And then it started to slow down, pandemic and things. Then now you start to see all these little things kind of happening. And then you had to say goodbye to that chapter of your life.
Yep.
Fast forwarding through, you end up in Georgia. And so now everybody's mindset for you is okay, so she just had her own business in New York. She's now in Georgia. She's going to open her own business. But you had to get your feet, acclimated with your new environment. So you took on these positions doing what you literally just came from doing. But
Mhm.
now you're just working for someone, right? So you were
Mhm.
working in these daycares because you had owned your own daycare. You had to take on these leadership roles because they knew you already knew the back end story. But what
Yes.
they failed to realize is that was never the intention. The intention wasn't, oh, I'm going to come here, I'm going to retire with you guys and get my pension and life goes on. Like,
No,
you
no, no.
literally were a CEO.
Mhm.
And I don't know many CEOs that will exchange their seat as CEO to be comfortable as a worker forever and ever. Amen. So
Right.
they were missing a piece to your story,
Uh-huh.
because when people are hired, they always think you're going to be there forever.
Uh-huh.
But you came in with the mindset of saying, no, what is it that I need to learn? Because I understand there's a learning curve being in a new state. What
Yes.
do I
Yes.
need to learn in order to go to, where it is that God has birthed inside of me? And so the fact that they terminated you, maybe it was because you were slow. God is like, you too comfortable. You look real cute and
And
comfortable.
you know
You got
what?
the cement blocks at your feet. You good here. You're not supposed to be good here.
Right.
So sometimes and again, from 15 years of age, where most people would see something as a setback, it's literally been a setup for you. So okay, you get terminated on a Tuesday. By that Monday, we didn't even
How
get a
many
full
people
week.
have
You
that?
signing contracts for your
How
own.
many people really can say, Tuesday I'm terminated, Saturday I'm looking at a building, that next week I'm in contract for my own?
Come on.
And you know what's crazy? Like I sit back and in true Sean fashion, right? You know, I make this company $1.1 million. 1.1, right? um I'm excited because I do what I do and I do it well, right? If I'm doing something, my heart and soul is into it. But let's not stop here about God's grace, right? It's funny, I laugh at it now because it's just like, God, you got a sense of humor.
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
not only did I get terminated, right? But I get terminated and they make me their competitor because my new daycare is 15 minutes from where I was terminated at.
Wow.
And it's like, all right now, God
Mm,
is like, you're going to make you $1.1
yeah.
million and nobody's ever going to be able to move you out that seat
Come on.
ever again.
Come on.
And I'm just so grateful to be
And
here.
that's the beauty of entrepreneurship that I don't think many people see. Yes, there's a lot of risk in it, but there
Big.
can be so much beauty and so much gain. And you're taking a risk getting up and going to someone's place of employment, and they can wrongly terminate you whenever they get good and ready. Whether their budget, it could be because of their budgeting, it could be because of whatever, but at any second, wherever you're employed, they can decide that they no longer want to employ you.
Yep. 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 And whether it is, it became a wrongful termination where they, oh, we sorry, you can come back and, severance pay and all this other
Mhm,
stuff. But I was like, no, no, ma'am.
mhm,
No.
mhm.
The lawyer was like, oh, take a break and come back to us. no, no, no.
Mm-mm.
Because
This
no,
was your sign. This was your setup.
this was my setup for the
Yeah.
next phase of my life.
Yeah.
And I have lived that for so many years. It is just a humbling feeling. And it's so funny. When you'll see it, of course, but the audience will not. But at closing, I got my shirt. It says, about God, He don't play about me. I'm
Come
wearing
on.
that to my closing,
Come on.
because of the simple fact is that the odds have always been in my favor, and God's hand has always been on my life. So
Yeah.
I'm just grateful to be in this season.
Absolutely. That's just a word of encouragement for everyone who's ever felt like the odds were against them, right? Like they were dealt a bad hand since birth. And if they had just had a more loving mom, or if they would have just had two parents in the same household, and if they would have just been able to finish school without any distractions. Yeah, but I mean, we like those kind of fairy tale stories, but
Right.
even in the Disney movies, there's always a tragedy. Like Nemo had to get lost in order to make the point to the story. His mother died. Like, why did
Exactly.
the fish mom have to die? Like, but this is the way these stories that we mimic our lives after literally start. It's always with a tragedy.
Yep.
It's never with everything, hunky dory. No, there's always a tragedy. And it teaches us that through adversity, like adversity doesn't have to be a setback. What
Nope.
if we look at it as a setup? What if the divorce was a setup? What if, them firing you was a setup? What if, Nana and Big Mama passing away? What if it was a setup?
Right. Right.
What if it was a setup? So I love your story. And I mean, you all are just kind of getting like the highlights, the quick
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah.
But if you really knew the fullness, the richness of the story,
You
you would
just
be
start shouting
excited.
right now, and you would
Exactly.
be,
You would be
man, listen.
excited
Yes.
that
Yes.
from 15 being, pregnant, now having to, stop doing, your schooling and everything, and to now be in this space where you're now at the reins, like you're at the reins of your business. So before I let you go, let's talk a little bit about this Growing and Glowing Academy. Like, first of all, tell us about the name. How did the name come about? Because you always find these very
It's
unique
so,
names for your businesses. A
and
Stairway
everybody
to
loves
Hope.
it
I
too.
know the Stairway to Hope and the Happy Hearts Daycare, but tell us about this glowing and growing and glowing.
Growing
I
and
love
glowing.
that.
Right. So it's so funny how back to the place that terminated me, right? Things just get birthed out of situation is so amazing, right? So the very first day I set up a meet and greet for me as the incoming director
Mhm.
for me to come into the school. So there was one young man. I'm like, okay, what's your name? He was like, my name is Michael, and today is my last day because I'm going into the school system. I literally never said this word before in my entire life, as you know. I said, look at us growing and glowing. Because I'm new, he's going, I'm growing, he's growing, and that's how we did it, right? And it's so funny, it became my hashtag, right?
Yeah.
And it became a thing where we ended up having that as a hashtag for my school.
Wow.
My staff loved it, right? They did that growing and glowing with pride, right?
Yes.
And then it's so funny because my boss, like, she kind of, oh, I like that, and she would try to use that for our district. And, of course, she didn't sound right saying it. So, like, she ended up stop saying it. And then when, so quick back to the termination part, my pre-K teacher, she moved with me, y'all. People, people will get up and walk out with me, right?
Come
And
on.
it's just so crazy. So my pre-K teacher, she was at my first center, right? She comes to this center. I call her one morning. girl, let's go. I got a pre-K position for you. She's just coming out of college. She's a young girl. Believe, as you know, I believe in uplifting my young girls or whatever like that. And she was like, Miss Shawn, I want to come, day of termination, I want to come to your house because I want to open up this business with you. So I'm thinking like, she's 24. Like,
Mhm.
what could she, you know? And sure enough, we sat down and she matched my fly. And
Yeah,
we are doing it, right? So
nice.
that's where growing and glowing came from, just out of just a talk.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
when we were talking about it, my husband, he was just like, why not do growing and glowing? And
Love it.
so then I called Ray, and Ray, I said, she was like, yes, yes.
I
And
love
then
it.
he just was like Growing and Glowing Academy. And it's just, and I love it because, you can grow
Yeah.
as you're growing and you glow and you learn and you mature and you do these things. That's what we're doing with these children. We're
Yeah.
watching them grow and glow and learn and do all of the things that they need to get to where they need to be when they are full grown adults.
I love it. That is definitely a good, like a rags to riches story. We love a good rags to riches story, but it is definitely it's a good testimony. So starting a daycare. So now what people don't realize with Happy Hearts Daycare was birthed inside of your home.
Yes.
Now, to my understanding, Growing and Glowing Academy is now in a center. So you're doing something
126
totally different.
children. Yes.
Yes.
126 children we are licensed for.
Wow.
And we will have pre-K in this building as well. So like we went from in-home daycare, now we are in a daycare center with the hope that every year we will open up a new Growing and Glowing Academy across Georgia.
Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. And because God don't play about you, I am certain that is going to be done and exceeded.
Mhm.
Whatever your vision is, it's going to be exceeded. So that is just like, I wanted to highlight this daycare because people always they don't really think about like the different things that they can do as an entrepreneur. So you literally could either start it at home, like what Shawn did with Happy Hearts Daycare, or it could be something where you put it in a center. But the premise behind it is really honing into the skills that you have and what God is telling you to do.
And if
That's
you
why
need
she's found the
help,
success. Go ahead.
because me and Sheniqua forgot about this part of our journey together,
Teach one, teach one.
but there's a book.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay, okay. So let's go there. So first and foremost, okay. So Shawn started out with the nonprofit, right? So she started a Stairway to Hope nonprofit organization, feeding the community, helping out the school kids, all of that good stuff. So when it came time for her to start writing a book, what better book to write is to help people learn how to start a nonprofit.
Yes.
So not only did she write the book of helping people learn how to start writing a nonprofit, she opened up, of course, another business, Each One Teach One, where she was literally mentoring people in starting their own nonprofits, doing the paperwork for them. So I don't know if you're still doing that, but I would say, look. I would say if you are interested in starting a nonprofit, you would want to get Shawn's book,
Yes.
right? You
Look
would
out
want to
for
get
it.
her book, and you might want to inbox her and just be like, hey, I saw you on the Black Girl Encourage Her, and I was just wondering, right? You might be able to get some information from her because she's a whiz at starting the nonprofits, and nonprofits are businesses.
Yes.
They are ministries, which she's got a second book about the nonprofit, but the
The ministry
ministry
side. The
side
ministry side.
is the
Yep.
start that stops most people, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that literally is the story. It's the start that stops most people. And you did not let your start stop you. So the books, she's got books on nonprofit, on starting your
So
ministry,
you want to start a business. So if you want to
for
start,
those people who
there's
want
a
to
book
start a
for that.
business. So she's got a book. We're going to make sure we got all the links in the description box so you can grab a copy off of Amazon. So in case you're thinking about, you've watched all of these, the Black Girl Encourage Her Entrepreneurial Edition, and you're like, I can do it. I can do it.
You
Start
can.
with that book. So you think you want to start a business, right? Start with that book, get some wisdom, get some nuggets, and trust God every step of the way.
Bet on yourself always.
Can't go wrong.
Mm-mm.
Can't go wrong. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Shawn, it was a pleasure as always talking with you. I'm going to definitely have to have you come back because there's so much
So much
more.
more we
We
can talk.
really tried to fast forward through all
Yes,
of the
we did.
stories, but there really is so much more. And all that you've been through, from, just being a young girl, everything that you've endured has really positioned you to be in this place where you are a living, breathing testimony of the grace of God.
Amen. Yes.
Right. So, any parting words you'd like to share with everyone? Oh, let me get your social media handles up too.
Yes. That Meet the Williams is my crazy, insane family and just my children. We have now one autistic child, four children with ADHD, and y'all gonna see how me and my husband navigate through this life with our fun family and things of that nature. We are loving it. People might think, whoa, all of that, but no,
Yeah.
we are good. We welcome y'all prayers. And like I said, always bet on yourself. You will never lose.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're definitely going to have you back so we can talk about the kids and the journey and all of that good stuff. But you all stay connected with Shawn, support her on her Instagram page. Meet the Williams too, so that way we can just support her efforts. And while she's doing that, raising her own family, she also has the daycare starting up, right? So we want to make certain we check out the website, growingandglowingacademy.com, so that we can see if maybe you're not in the Georgia area, but maybe you've got resources, you've got connections, maybe there's a blessing that you would be able to give, to sow a seed, to support, because this is ministry work. This is kingdom work that Shawn is embarking upon. And you know what? She could have quit. She could have quit after first pregnancy. She could have quit, but because she keeps showing up, God keeps blessing her. So, Shawn, again, thank you for your yes. Thank you for your words of upliftment and encouragement to us all. Hang out for just a second. Let me give the people their marching orders. You see, I'm certain you all could see yourself in Shawn. She is one of the realest, coolest, most down-to-earth individuals I know. I love her. We've been friends for forever, ever. And you do not have to allow your setbacks to be setbacks. You can literally just shift your mindset and turn them into setups for your success. So I thank you all for your time, your effort, your energy, for tuning in to the Black Girl Encourage Her. Make certain you are hitting the like button, you are leaving us a good comment, and you are subscribing. We keep these messages going because of the subscriptions. The subscriptions help us to get the message out to the masses. So make certain you share this with a friend. Tell them you got to hear this rags to riches story, and make certain you hit the subscribe button when you watch it to show your love and support for Sheniqua Inspires. So you all have a beautiful, blessed rest of your week, and I look forward to joining you all again next week, because I got another gem lined up for us. So until then, you all be abundantly blessed. Take care.